Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenmara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight I would like to offer the reading for the water elemental energy, which covers the zodiac signs of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces for the month of March of 2023. These readings I read intuitively, and the messages that come through are timeless, as are the messages from the cards themselves. So, even though I may be reading for March of 2023, you might hear this far in the future, or even in a different month of the same year. And if you hear a message that resonates with you, then that message is obviously for you. And there are 5 weeks in March, and so I will read for each week within the month. I read a guide or guardian, a message from source, and then a lesson or a challenge from the tarot. And if you're interested in any of the decks that I'm using, they are linked in the description below. And I'm trying something different with this month's readings, and I have some background music playing. If you want to leave a comment below, let me know what you think of the music. If it's distracting, it's too much, however. And if you are interested in hearing more about what I do, hit the subscribe button and drop a like on the video if you enjoy this type of work. With that, we'll go ahead and get started for the first week of March for the water signs for 2023. And your first guide or guardian is the Earth and Water Dragon. Creates a foundation for new growth. A fresh start is coming with new opportunities. Nurture your ideas and harvest abundance. So this guide or guardian, and it depends on how you view it, is coming forward to say you've done a lot of work. You've cleared out a lot of heavier energies. You've done some inner journeying over the last year or two, and now it's time to start really building this new future. And this dragon is coming forward, the Earth and Water Dragon, saying, what is it that you want to build? Let's work on the foundation, the basic principles of what you're trying to build. Is it a new business? What kind of layout do you need? Is it going to be online? Is it going to be a storefront? Is it a traveling business? Or is it like a new relationship? What is it you're looking for in a relationship? What are the foundation principles? Those things that are non-negotiable, basically. And so this dragon during the first week of March is coming forward to really help you settle in and make some of those bigger decisions as far as the foundational work, allowing you to spring forward into something that you've been wanting to create for a while. So let's look at a message from source for the first week. And these cards are really thick stock, so it feels like I've got two cards, it's only one. Your first message from source is the Gaia Gateway Activation, Learning Experiences, Wisdom Transmissions, and Earth Intelligence. So this card is saying that it's time, and your message from source is saying it's time to really ground yourself. The Earth and Water Dragon is saying, let's build a foundation, let's work on setting those plans, those goals moving forward. And your message from source is saying, this is a good time to remind yourself of the connection you have to Gaia, to the heart of the planet you're standing on. And as you're working with this deeper, stronger energy, you're setting your foundation not just for your future plans, but you're reaffirming your foundation that you're here in this now moment, and you're working to become more grounded in the now, versus water signs tend to want to wander off into the fantasy lands, and that can be however you choose, science fiction, horror, romance, whatever. But this card is saying you live here and you're here in the moment. You're working to build a foundation. So this card is reminding you to just practice being in the now moment. Practice being present and grounding yourself here. And that will work with the Earth and Water Dragon guide to really start to build those foundations for the future. So your lesson from the tarot, or the challenge, is the Nine of Pentacles. So you're approaching the end of a pattern here. And what this card is saying is you're getting close to the end. It's not a time to be lazy. It's a time to look forward and do some reevaluations. Is there something in your foundational work that you've been kind of setting your goals for, but you're not really solid in any of it just yet? And this card is saying, when you're setting these goals, you're setting foundations, make sure that what you're setting them for, that you're actually wanting that outcome. You wouldn't lay the foundation for a storefront business and then only do it online. You wouldn't lay the foundation for, let's say, a home, and you're going to build a multi-story home and you only put a foundation down for one story. This card is your lesson, or your challenge is really get clear. You're building foundations this first week of March. Get clear on what it is that you're trying to build, because you're approaching, the Knight of Pentacles is saying you're approaching the end of a cycle. Make sure that when you're stepping into that next cycle energy, that you actually have the vision that you want, not just a general concept that you've thrown out there. So this first week of March is really about getting clear on what you're wanting and setting your foundations for that. So let's look at the second week of March's guide and guardian. It is the green gold dragon from Sirius, bringing universal knowledge to your spiritual pathway. Learn about spiritual technology and be a transmitter of sacred knowledge. Excuse me. So the second week's guide or guardian is this dragon here. It's the green and gold dragon from Sirius. So during week 1, you were, setting your foundations, getting clear on what you were really going for, and learning to focus on the now moment. The second week, now that you've gotten a little bit more clear, you're starting to set groundwork, you're bringing in this universal information, and the Sirius star cluster is a good place to maybe tap into, to just open your eyes up a little bit more to what else is out there, what outside information could be coming in. The green gold dragon from Sirius is here to help you understand your foundation, but also the other influences that might affect how you build from here on out. The first week was setting your foundations and really setting intentions, building a foundation to build the next step. And this dragon is saying, now that you've got your idea of what you're working with, now let's look at the outside influences, and if you need to make adjustments, we can make those adjustments. So let's look at the message from Source for the second week of March 2023. This deck is usually really talkative, and it's being quiet tonight for some reason. So we have the Divine Matrix, interconnectedness, synchronicity, and guidances. It's like coincidences with God. So your message from Source is really saying you're working with this universal energy, you're tapping into some stellar energy as well, looking at the influences of what you've been building, and now you're looking, the message from Source is, as you're bringing in this other information, you're looking at this broader scheme, seeing the influences that are working around you, the mystical web, if you will. The Divine Matrix is stepping forward to say, you're building your foundation. Let's show you, let's reveal how you fit into the divine picture. You're bringing in galactic information, you're looking at things from a bigger picture, but let's step outside of your worldview. Let's step into the consciousness of the ultimate observer, the God force energy, and let's look at where your plan fits into the scheme. We all have free will, and this is just God's way of saying, let's look at things and see how what you're working with aligns with the broader picture of what your mission is. Your soul's mission is something that you agreed to before you came in, and a lot of us go through life trying to figure out what that purpose is. And when you start building these foundations and you're starting to work towards bigger things, that's when the Divine Matrix energy can come in and say, this is how this fits. Is this what you want? So the second week is about double checking and re-verifying. Let's look at your lesson or challenge from the tarot. And we have the Hierophant, number 5. So when you have the major arcana cards show up, these are major life lessons. These are major life events, stepping stone type things. So for this second week, your challenge or your lesson is the Hierophant, which is a wise man. This is pulling away. It's usually, not usually, it can be seen as the Hermit card as well. So you've got this period of you've gained knowledge, you've gained a lot of experience, you're reassessing things. You have the green gold dragon coming in saying, let's look at the stellar energy that's applying or influencing your foundations. You have the divine matrix saying, let's see how this fits into the grand scheme of things. Is this what you're looking for? And the Hierophant is saying, step back. Use the knowledge that you have gained to examine what's happening. The Hierophant will tell you, will bring forward information saying, what is it that you're questioning? Are you doubting yourself? Pull away from society, because the everyday world, as a rule, is going to just be added chaos. When you're working on building these foundations, picking those one or two important people that you know and trust, and they know you, they can help you understand your plans. The stellar influences, the divine matrix planning, but the Hierophant knows the wisdom of this person works, that one doesn't. And so it's that pulling back from listening to the chaos of everything else and really stepping into your authority. So your challenge or your lesson is, when you pull back, does that allow you to see clearer? When you pull back and you pull away from people, it might cause them discomfort, but that's okay, because you're working on a grand scheme thing and you need to make sure you can focus on that. So that's your message and or challenge there, is pulling back and not being afraid of someone being offended by you're asking someone else for guidance when you just knew that that person probably wouldn't be the best option. So let's look at your third week's guide or guardian. It is the Black Dragon. Cocoons you so the divine potential can grow. Meditate, reflect, undergo metamorphosis. So as you've worked the first week with slaying foundations, the second week was reassessing and making sure, and cleaning up what your plans were, setting some things in motion, but also looking at things from a broader perspective, looking at the influences coming in. And now you have the Black Dragon that is coming in to say, now that you've done the work, you've set your foundation, you've looked at the influences, let's rest this. Let's pull it in. Let's allow this to really blossom into your mind, your heart, your soul, your visualizations, so that you can see in really clear detail what it is you're trying to build. You're doing this through meditation, you're doing this through vision boards, you're doing this through positive affirmations towards your goal, but you're phrasing them in the now moment. So you're building this positive reinforcement of, this is where I'm at, this is what I'm building, this is what I'm doing, and it's not a future thing, it's all in the now. We're still working with the now energy. And so you're really working with this, what you've been building, but you're doing it in a now moment. So the first couple of weeks were really, you're setting and clearing and figuring things out. This week, it's not so much about building it, it's about making steps to bring it into reality. It could be something simple, and so it'll manifest pretty quickly, and it could be something a little bit longer, and the Black Dragon can help you see the next steps, help you see what your the next aha moment could be. So this is really about paying attention to your instincts, but meditating a lot, really following those intuitive impulses for this third week. And your message from Source is Pleiadian activation, coming together, harmony in the heavens, and resolution. So your message from Source, the heart of the Creator, is saying, you've done planning, you've done looking at the influences, and now it's really about bringing that into a more physical state. You have everything starting to line up, everything starting to come together, and card is saying, as you're working with the Black Dragon, you're building these images in your mind, and you're cocooning them from the outside. So as you're building these foundations, it's they're saying that it's really recommended to not share this information with everybody. A lot of your foundational work is something that you're doing internally. As it progresses and expands out and starts to manifest, other people will start to see it, and it'll be a little bit more open to sharing it with others. But for now, you're really wanting to get that foundation set. You're wanting that, to use a construction term, you want that concrete to harden up before you start letting people walk around and stick their fingers in it and draw faces in it, because that will really make some concrete workers very angry if you do that. So but this is what you're working with right now, is this energy of making sure that everything is protected, and allow yourself to really bring it in and focus on it. You have this harmony with the celestial and the heavenly gates, with the divine matrix, so you're working with and in alignment with the divine creator. As long as you're working with something that you know in your heart and your soul and your guidance, this is what I'm supposed to do, this is where that harmony comes into play. And when that harmony kicks in, you'll notice that you feel amazing about this. Things will line up quickly. And it doesn't mean like snap your fingers, it could, but it could also mean that as you're working towards it, barriers that other people would, be, oh, I had this trouble working on that project, but that barrier's not there for you because you're working in alignment where they may not have been in that aligned state. So let's look at your challenge or lesson from the tarot. We have the 10 of Swords. So the swords represent air and knowledge. So you're coming to the end of a cycle. You're coming to like the end of a learning experience is what they're saying. And the challenge here is don't give up. Yes, you've come to the end of this learning cycle, but you're getting ready to start another learning cycle. And the 10 of Swords is saying it's okay at this point to cut ties with some of your past, to cut ties with some of those things that were connected to that old learning cycle. It could be old habits, it could be old patterns, but you're done with that section of your life now. It's time to, clear out the stuff that's not helping you anymore. It's kind of weighing you down for your next adventure. And so you've got this energy of you've completed it, but you also have to cut it away. And using an intellectual, logical, focused way of cutting it away. But your challenge is listening to the logic and the reason and not following an emotional impulse. So that's where your energy is as far as your lesson or your challenge is being able to, with logic, with reason, with wisdom, cut out the parts of your life that are no longer working for you and they're not working with what you're building this month with the new foundation and such. So let's adjust my mic, hop along to the 4th week of March 2023 for water. And if you, like I said, if you're enjoying this type of content, please drop a like on the stream and subscribe just so that you know when I hop in on live, because I do live streams as well, in addition to the videos. So back to our reading. We have, for your 4th week, the Lilac Fire Dragon transmutes through the power of divine love. Open up transcendent love and enlightenment. Purity of heart brings peace, hope, and joy. So you've been doing all of this work inside, and you've been setting these ideas and plans in motion. And this card is saying, now that you're building these structures in your mind, you're kind of building this foundational work, bringing in the violet flame, the lilac fire, similar concepts. As you're bringing this in, that energy is going to transform what you've been working on into its next state. So the Lilac Fire Dragon is saying, I'm going to help you. You got all this stuff set up. You're doing great. Let's take it to the next level. And so this is the energy of this 4th week, is taking what you've set out and elevating it. So you're taking those next steps. The 1st week was really about, making sure you were clear. Your 2nd week was examining. 3rd week was making sure that you can, see it, feel it, taste it, touch it, however that works in a meditative state. And this dragon is coming in to say, this is an action week for you. So we've got some things to do. The first little bit was more in here, and in this 4th week, you're bringing that from in your mind into the physical. So you're starting to really bring that out type of energy, and that's where this transmuting energy of the lilac fire dragon comes forward for you. Is it's time to really manifest this into the physical world. So let's look at your message from source for this 4th week, and we have the Shambhala initiation, retreating to recharge, trusting the process, Dharma. So as we're working with this energy of transmutation, of shifting things from the mental, spiritual, etheric plane into the physical, this is a period of initiation for you. You may have done manifestation work, you may have done law of attraction work in the past. Great. Now the lilac fire dragon is saying, we're going to show you a different technique. And that's where the initiation comes in. You're really trying to change not just your foundational work into a physical plan and into a physical action, physical object. You're also bringing in this Shambhala initiation. You are being taught how to manifest a heavenly image into the physical world. So you're working with this transmutation energy to bring your vision, the plan that you've been working on all month, into physical reality, but you're also being trained and taught how to basically create a heaven on earth scenario as well. So you've got a lot of really strong energy coming through this 4th week. And it's not to be scared of. It's actually pretty encouraging because you have a lot of support. The Shambhala energy is very soothing, very comforting, and very gentle. And the lilac fire dragon is going to work with what you're doing. They're not going to push you beyond your capacity. But a lot of us don't realize how broad our capacity really is until it comes down to that point when we get pushed at it. So let's look at your lesson or challenge from the tarot. We have the 2 of chalices. So your lesson or your challenge is going to be around relationships in this time. And it could be a lesson of not to be distracted by a relationship. It doesn't mean you have to turn your back on it. But being a water energy, you want to follow the thing that triggers your heart more so than the logic. And you've got a lot of things in place that are requiring a lot more intuitive tied to your logic. And so the energy is not saying to ignore a relationship, but to make sure that you know its place within what you're doing. And it could be the fact that you may have been ignoring it because you've been so focused on this other energy, but the 2 of chalices, 2 of cups, 2 of water is all about an emotional connection, but it's an emotional connection in a really deep, intimate, but doesn't have to be sexual way. And so you've got this person who's connected to you in this 4th week that needs a little balancing. Whether you've ignored them, they need some attention. If you have been using them as a distraction, maybe giving yourself a minute to really bring back to what you're working on. But the lesson or the challenge is really revolving around this relationship with one other person. And my guides are really being specific. It is just one other person, and it's someone who's you're intimate with, and it's that soul to soul connection. It doesn't have to be a physical, is what they keep repeating that. So let's look at your 5th week guide or guardian. That card literally just jumped out of the deck. And we have the Sunshine Yellow Dragon. Helps you to help animals, serve with animals, heal, respect, and understand. So they're saying that this card is really representing working with your spirit animal guides. And if you have pets in your house, cats or puppies or, even parakeets, there's one dragon in particular that's saying make sure to give them a little extra treat this 5th week because their energy is really going to be tuning into yours. But this is about working with your guides and allies. As you're building these foundations, as you're working this energy, you're changing your inner world, also changing your outer world, because that's how transmutation works in the alchemic sense. You're using a lot of advice and help from your guides. And this 5th week is really talking about the guides and guardians specific to the sunshine yellow dragons and your animal spirit guides. So really tap into that. If you've never worked with animal spirit guides, this is a good time to maybe this 5th week reach out to connect with them, open yourself up to those. They can be very shamanic experiences where you have an animal come to you in a dream state. Something will catch your attention. You'll start seeing them everywhere in the news or on the newspapers or in the magazines or your online forums that you will look at, and one animal will start to really stand out during this time. And that could be, if you've never worked with animal spirits, that could be a good indicator of what your animal spirit that's trying to reach out to you is. So this 5th week's guide or guardian is the sunshine yellow dragon, but they're there to help you connect either with a new spirit guide animal or to deepen the connection that you already have. And that's going to help support you in your long-term goals. So let's look at a message from Source. I keep looking at all my piles down here of all the cards, and I lost track of which deck or pile I was on. So the message from Source for this 5th week of March is Arcturian light codes, evolutionary downloads, recalling your power, and future thinking. So during this 5th week, Source energy is bringing in upgrades. You're working with a lot of different energy, and this is as you're shifting, as you're transmuting, as you're changing your world, you're bringing in these higher frequencies, and this is a light code set that is coming in directly from the heart of the Creator to support you in this growth. Going out in the sunlight, allowing yourself to be in the sunlight for up to 15 to 20 minutes, and make sure that this section of your forehead, specifically like right here, is unobscured. Don't put sunscreen on. If you have makeup on, do it before you put your makeup on. However it works, but make sure this part in particular gets sunlight. Also, make sure that section gets moonlight. That part of your forehead reaches into your 3rd eye, your pineal gland, and so your pineal gland actually does have optic nerves in it, and they require sunlight to function. The moonlight enhances their intuitive, psychic, if you will, abilities. So you're working with this dual energy. You're bringing in these higher frequency light codes at this time, and you're getting some specific downloads. They're saying that's going to support you in this work. And it might not be a conscious thought pattern like, oh, well, I'm going to take this next step and this is what's going to happen because I just got that burst of insight. It could be that, or it could be an adjustment to some subconscious program that you've had for years that just needs to be either phased out or updated. And when you get these downloads, these psychic impulses, updates, if you will, to the system, you may hear ears ringing in your ears. You might get a momentary lightheaded feeling for no reason, like you've eaten, you're hydrated, all the things, but you'll be do, and all of a sudden it'll just kind of hit and then go away. And that's usually when you're getting that burst of energy coming in. And like I said, the ears ringing is a really interesting one, because you don't have hearing problems, you're doing your thing, but one ear in particular will start to just ring, and it'll go really, really bad for about 1 to 2 seconds and then just go away. And there's nothing wrong at that point. If it just happens that quickly, it usually means that you're getting some kind of a spiritual upgrade. So just be aware of those in this 5th week of March. And let's look at your lesson or challenge from the tarot. And we have the 4 of Pentacles. Don't be afraid to go it alone. They're saying that you want to do this on your own. You want to do this completely by yourself. But the challenge or the lesson is don't pull away too much. In your lesson or challenge for the 4th week was find the balance with that intimate person that you're with. This one is saying when you find that balance with that person, that doesn't mean to pull away from everybody else. The challenge or the lesson is, can you build what you're building, what you're planning, what you're working on, and still have a connection to the outside, where you still have a social life, you still have friends, you still do family things. Your lesson or your challenge is, as you're changing the inner world, as you're creating this plan, what you've been building your foundation with, make sure that you have it so that it can be functional outside of, just here. And allow, at this point, they're saying this is the challenge or the lesson is you've been kind of guarding this and not wanting to talk about it. This fourth week is saying now it's okay to start letting a few more people know, or let other people, if they start asking questions, it's okay to start to be a little bit more vocal about it. It doesn't mean to go dumping all of your plans, thoughts, and theories out there, but it's saying that it's okay to be a little bit more open to sharing, and possibly bringing somebody in to help you with it if there's parts of it that you're just not quite getting there with. They're saying that it's okay to have some extra help during this fourth week or the fifth week. So just be open to some a little outside help during this in the physical world. They're saying that when this one is really about the physical world, the day-to-day type stuff. Everything else for this week's been pretty spiritual, but your lesson or your challenge is focusing towards the physical and possibly getting some outside help. So hopefully these messages resonated for you guys. And if you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe. If you like the video, please drop a like on the video. I welcome all comments, suggestions, even criticisms, as long as we can be respectful. I think that we all can use some more of that in our lives. So with that, I will let you guys go. Have an awesome month of March, and I will see you in the next video.